Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Vid. Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video I'm going to be talking all about Tesla full self-driving. I've been using the Tesla full self-driving trial that Elon gave everybody for the past few weeks now, and I've noticed some good things about it as well as some things that could definitely be improved. So I'm going to be talking all about my findings and what I honestly think about Tesla full self-driving. So let's not waste any more time and dive right in. This is the feature that I use the most in terms of the full self-driving, and that is auto park. It works really well for standard perpendicular parking. All I have to do is just drive up to a parking space, and then Tesla is going to recognize it, and then when I click on it, it's going to move both forwards and backwards slowly into that parking space until it gets it perfectly in the parking space. In terms of the spacing after parking, I think it does a good job overall, but there are some times that I do have to readjust manually. When it comes to parallel parking, this is the situation that I actually prefer using auto park in, as I find that I am not very good with parallel parking, and having an assistance system like the auto park right here is very helpful. All I do is just drive up to the parking spot and hit that button as I showed earlier, and the car is automatically moving itself back and forth up until it can position itself in a way that it can just back in and adjust itself seamlessly within the allotted parking space. Another feature that's included in the FSD is Smart Summon, including the actual Smart Summon. Now, my car does not have this, however, my friend's car does, and I was able to try it out. So all you gotta do is just hold down the summon button to your location, and the car is automatically gonna come to you. It can also recognize when passengers are in front of it, so it can slow down and stop. Here's how the summon interface looks on your phone. Now, as I said earlier, the summon is not going to work just by tapping on the summon button. You have to actively be holding it in order for the vehicle to summon to you, and it's not going to stop until you let go. Starting off with exiting the parking lot, it does a pretty good job of navigating around the parking lot, and it does a good job maneuvering around parked vehicles. Now, the one thing that it does struggle on is trying to figure out which part of the gate to use to exit the parking lot. This is somewhere where I have to take over, as the car does not recognize the correct side to exit. Now let's talk about how FSD handles city driving. One of the features is traffic light and stop sign control, and we're out of red right now, but as soon as it turns green, it's going to automatically start driving again. Now we're in a neighborhood, and it's doing a good job of maintaining the speed. I do get pretty anxious when it drives in narrow streets, as well as when it drives right next to a bunch of parked vehicles. However, I've never had the urge to just take over. It also can slow down for a speed bump, which I find really convenient. In terms of the stop sign detection, it does a good job of recognizing and stopping at stop signs. However, I'm not really a fan of how it accelerates after a stop sign. Sometimes it's a bit too fast, sometimes it's a bit too slow. I do wish there was more consistency in this, but other than that, I think it does a pretty good job in terms of neighborhood driving. Now we're driving on regular city streets once again, and overall it's doing a pretty good job of both maintaining the speed limit and keeping me centered. It detected a red light up front, so it is going to start slowing down. However, I do wish the deceleration was a bit better, as I find that the car does a lot of a hard deceleration compared to when I'm just driving the car manually. One feature that I think works really well on city streets is the auto lane change feature. It does a good job of quickly changing lanes and maintaining the speed of the new lane that it changes into. I don't really use this feature a lot on city streets. I try not to do too many lane changes on the city streets. I definitely use this feature a lot more on the highways, and it works pretty well. You're going to see that when I get to my highway portion of the FSD review. Turning is another area where I find it to be very hit or miss. It does a good job of applying the blinker way before it actually needs to turn. However, the actual turn process is not the best in many cases. For example, at this red light, it's treating it as if there was a no turn on red sign, even though that's not the case. I have to manually intervene with the accelerator in order to execute the turn. I do wish there was greater support for spatial awareness in some situations, although I do think that it is pretty good. I do find it failing on some situations like this one. Now it's time to talk about what everybody's been waiting for in terms of this full self-driving review, and that is the highway driving experience. And as it turns onto the highway entrance lane, it's going to start picking up that speed, matching the speed of the current drivers on the highway. As we're leaving the highway entrance ramp, we're finally going to be entering the highway, and as soon as it does that, it's going to apply the auto lane change by applying the signal, and just like that, it automatically changes lanes onto the correct highway lane with no user intervention whatsoever. Now it's time to change lanes once again, this time to the faster lane. As soon as we hit the turn signal, it's going to examine the surroundings and wait until it finds a spot where it can move into the faster lane, and as soon as it can, it's going to move over just effortlessly. One really convenient feature of full self-driving is that you can use the right scroll wheel to change the speed. You can move it up to increase the speed and move it down to decrease the speed, and I find this really convenient when I'm driving in areas where there aren't that many cars in front of me. Here's another area that the Tesla full self-driving does really well in, and that is its speed adjustment. Now, right now we are in an area where the cars are moving a lot slower than usual, so Tesla is going to adjust the speed accordingly to match their speed. And once we're out of that area and in a much faster moving area, the car is going to ramp up the speed in order to match the now faster moving speed. Overall, I think that highway driving is definitely the best use case for full self-driving. It allows me to use all of the various full self-driving features in their full potential, and it also gives me a lot of driver confidence, as highway driving is definitely more difficult than city driving in my opinion. It is pretty easy to get carried away by not paying attention to the screen. However, the car will definitely be telling you when you need to pay attention by nudging you and telling you to touch the steering wheel every few minutes or so. After using Tesla FSD many times over the past year, here are my honest thoughts. I think that Tesla FSD works great for highways, and that is my main use case for it. I use it every single time I drive on one. I think it definitely does a better job with city driving later on in 2024 as compared to when I first had it in March of 2024. Now, I still think that there are a few issues, particularly both around railroads and sidewalks. I don't think it does a good job recognizing these. We've had Tesla FSD for many years, and I'm honestly surprised about that. To answer the question of whether you should or should not get Tesla full self-driving, here's what I honestly think about it. I think that it's really cool software, and it's definitely going to get a lot better as time goes by. However, it's also very expensive, and for most people watching this video, you should definitely hold off on it and maybe wait a few more months or even a few more years. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. I hope you guys liked it, and I hope you guys found it very informative. If you guys like this video and you want to see more content from me in the future, you know what to do. Hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. That's all I got for today. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.